Who's speaking? But, oh, okay. All right, let us start our meeting. We now move to the second item. Ngikhuleke kumakhosi aseNdlunkulu akhona here. To the council members, officials, members of the media, and members of the public joining the meeting through live streaming. Good morning and welcome to this meeting. We will check our attendance after official announcement, no, after the opportunity for prayer and meditation. We'll check our attendance. Can we now stand up and sing the AU anthem and our national anthem? And after that, we will then observe a moment of silence for personal reflection or prayer or any form of silent preparation for the meeting. And also, can we also pray for our country and also pray for us to overcome the COVID-19 pandemic? Can you now stand and sing the AU anthem and the national anthem?
To rise together, to defend
Let us remain standing and observe a moment of silence. Thank you. We may be seated. Secretariat, can we check the attendance? In the meantime, I will do the announcements. The city would like to convey condolences to the family and friends of all women that were brutally murdered during the Women's Month, including Ms. Nosicele Mtebeni, a fourth-year student from the University of Fort Hare, who was murdered and stuffed in a suitcase. A 30-year-old sub-constable in the Free State who was allegedly murdered by her boyfriend. We pray that justice will be served and the perpetrators be accordingly brought to book. The city wishes to extend a speedy recovery to Ms. Pulukeng Lilosa, Manager Secretariat, who was mugged outside her children's school and sustained multiple stab wounds. She is in hospital and is recovering. The city wishes to reiterate that it condones and stands firmly against all forms of gender-based violence. Councillors, to note that in order to maintain order during the meeting, all microphones will remain muted and will only be unmuted when one has raised their hand and has been recognized by the speaker or to speak. But we will allow the whips and the chairpersons of committees to have their microphones unmuted. Best wishes to all councillors celebrating their birthdays this month. That is the month of August. All the queens, the kings and queens are born in this month. Councillors are brought to the attention of Rule of Order 16.1, A to E, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9. As per the rules, councillors are requested to conduct themselves in a respectful manner, to refrain from interrupting the proceedings, and are encouraged to conduct business with the highest decorum and integrity that the occasion and the residents of the municipality deserve. Thank you. We're still waiting for Secretariat. Okay, let's continue with the report and we'll do the applications for leave of absence. But before we confirm the minutes, we will then wait for Secretariat to confirm the attendance. The Speaker's report, the purpose is to update Council in respect of various activities that transpired in Council during the month of August 2021, and the following is reported. Back to basics. In line with Back to Basics, Council to note the following. Ward committees and community engagements. In the month of August, the following is reported. Ward committee meetings, total number of meetings held, there were 37. Total number of evidence submitted, only 6. Community engagement, 19. And the total evidence submitted, only 7. It has been noted that the number of ward committee and community engagement meetings have hugely declined. It being noted that there are currently several other activities happening in preparation of the upcoming local government elections. However, councillors are reminded that holding the above meetings is still a compliance matter, which must be adhered to. The Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs continues to assess the functionality of ward committees. For the last quarter, July, September, the assessment was taken on 16 August 2021. This implies that committees are still required to be operational, hold meetings and community engagement with ward councillors as required. Councillors are reminded that there is assistance available from the Office of the Speaker in the form of personnel to record meeting proceedings and facilitating procurement of necessary resources to hold community engagements. Councillors are urged to make use of the available resources to ensure compliance with holding the required community engagement. Council committees, it has been noted that almost all council support committee meetings met over the month of August. This is commendable. However, it was noted that some committees met after the scheduled calendar days. This councillors creates a challenge since the report from support committees still has to be considered by the executive committee to enable preparation of reports to the municipal council for final consideration. If reports from support committees are delayed, this also impacts on the executive committee and timeous preparation and distribution of the council agenda to allow all party deliberations in preparation for council. Councillors are urged as much as possible to keep to the scheduled meeting dates as contained on the approved calendar of meetings. Council to note that with COVID-19 restrictions being observed, almost all council committee meetings are virtually held, and it has been noted that in some instances, when invites to committee meetings are forwarded to councillors, those invites bounce back to the sender, and then councillors complain of not timelessly receiving meeting invites. Members are urged to ensure that in the event there is any information change pertaining to the councillor, especially change in contact number and email address, that information be communicated with the Office of the Speaker to ensure that the database is updated accordingly. Council members are still experience challenges with delivery and receiving of community agendas are also reminded to advise the Office of the Speaker for timeless intervention. Thank you. Chief Whip.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Greetings to you, Honorable Mayor, and the colleagues and the members of the media. Madam Speaker, with regards to those colleagues whose their mic will be on, can we also include the deputy chairs of the committees, please?
Can we include the deputy chairs of committees? Is that possible? Can we have the names, Chief Whip?
Councillor Barbara Uzek, Councillor Barbara Fontaine is a deputy chair of the finance. Is a deputy chair, Councillor Barbara. Councillor Nelly Nyanisa is a deputy chair. Councillor Nomthandazo Shabalala is a deputy chair. Councillor Musa Mkhize is a deputy chair. Councillor Councillor Pearl Mkhize. Pearl Luthuli Mkhize is a deputy chair. And the councillor, who am I missing? Yeah, those are deputies, Madam Speaker.
Okay, we'll unmute them.
And Councillor Tembo Buhle Ntuli is the deputy chair of the committee.
Thank you, Chief Whip.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Councillor Graham.
Thank you, Speaker, and good morning to everybody. Please could I ask that Councillor Yorgos Govender, as member of EXCO, is also unmuted. Councillor Mtetwa is not here today, so it would just be the two members of EXCO from our side. Thank you.
We'll do that. Please lower your hands. Okay, can we then move to the applications for leave of absence?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I've got the following applications for leave of absence. Councillor D.M. Kanyile is indisposed from the 27th of July to the 1st of September. Councillor M. Tembe, who is also indisposed for today only. Councillor Z.A. Solomons, indisposed for today only. Councillor T.M. Tetwa is not available due to personal commitments today. Councillor K.S. CBC indisposed for today. Councillor M.S. Gwala, not available today, no reason stated. Councillor N.C. Gumede, also not available today for no reason stated. Councillor Imgadi, also not available for no reason stated. The final one is Councillor N.C. Gumede, who also is on council business, municipal business for today. Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson.
Thank you, Acting City Manager. Are all these leave of absence applications accepted, councillors?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Agreed, Speaker.
IFP, because your whip is not in the meeting, NC Kumede, who can we unmute? Bamkosi, are you unmuted? Councillor Nkosi? Dlangamandla?
Madam Speaker,
Yes, sir.
kancela usibizi la bengixakelwe inetwork ngingenile ngabuye disconnect sengibuyile kodwa.
Oh, Councillor Sibisi, thank you. Councillor Nkosi? Okay, can we then get Councillor Aya? You can unmute yourself and speak.
Councillor Nkosi will deputize for Councillor NC Gumet.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Can we confirm attendance before we continue with our meeting? Please lower your hand, Councillor Aya.
Madam Speaker.
Chief Whip.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Can the Secretariat recheck, please, because at our disposal, the ANC for now they are 74, but some are still trying to connect.
Can we
Can they
confirm?
recheck, please?
Can we confirm, Secretariat?
Speaker, it's Councillor Graham.
Councillor Graham?
Just one small issue. A number of our councillors have been added in the presenters section, and it's making it quite hard to track who's where. It's obviously an error, but I imagine the presenters section is people who remain unmuted. So I've got some councillors being added there and then some councillors being added elsewhere, and it's making it quite hard to track who's online and who's not, and to give you an accurate representation. I'm not sure if that can be attended to without disconnecting those speakers, but if it could, please, because then we can just count everybody. I think that we've got a higher number than what you're showing online, but I'm battling to count because they keep moving between the two sections.
Okay, that's what the Chief Whip was also complaining about. Can we confirm the numbers? Can we also check the DA? It's the leader says it's more than 41. Okay, let's proceed because we do have a quorum, but we'll update the attendance of the Democratic Alliance as we go. Is that okay, colleagues? That we go ahead?
Speaker, we are on 44 at the current point, but I'm happy to proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, 44. The DA is 44. We do have a quorum. Can we Can all the deputy chairs that Chief Whip has asked us to include, can you please all raise your hands as we add you? Each time we add you, will please lower your hands. Can all the deputy chairs raise their hands?
Madam Speaker, we can't hear you.
No, I'm still waiting. They are still adding the deputy chairs. I was just checking if all the smaller parties have been added and the independents. They're telling me that they have been added. Are you done with adding the deputy chairs? Please lower your hand, Dlangamandla.
No, sorry, Madam Speaker. I wanted to check something, if you may allow me.
All right.
I have noticed that the colleagues from EFF have been absent for several meetings. I don't know whether they do tender their apologies or not, because I haven't heard their apologies. If it's so, that means that they're supposed to be expelled from the council, because we can't just absent yourself without apologies. Thank you.
Thank you, Dlangamandla. I've also observed that that's my task for next week. We're done. Okay, so we've recognized the whips. We've got, we move to the next item, which is confirmation of minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes. Ordinary meeting of the 5th of August, 2021, and the in-committee meeting of the 5th of August, of the 26th, of the 5th of August, 2021. Are the minutes a true record of the previous meeting, council meeting, colleagues? Councillor Ben? Councillor Ben, you can go ahead and speak. Unmute yourself and speak.
Thank you. Sorry, there was a delay in seeing the mic. Madam Speaker, I rise on a point of order because I noticed that in the agenda there's no mention of the minutes of the meeting on the 29th of July. The meeting scheduled at the ICC, which was properly called. The notice was issued, and that is what convenes the meeting. About 70 to 80 councillors were actually in the venue at the time of the meeting. Many councillors were absent, and that's an issue which you need to deal with. But in law and in fact, there was a meeting on that day, so we need minutes. So through you, Madam Speaker, I ask you to ask the city manager why we don't have minutes. It is the task of the city manager, and I know that there has been a transition there, but with respect, there is an obligation to have minutes, specifically to record who was present and who was absent, um, and the fact that the quorum was not reached, and that the meeting had to be adjourned. But there was, in fact, a meeting, so we must have minutes. And I ask you to inform the House what the arrangements are in that regard. And while I have the floor, can I just ask you for an assurance that you have in fact taken action in terms of Rule 9.5 and 9.6 relating to the records of the incidents in respect to which councillors have been found to have been absent without leave, and 9.6 requires you to advise the relevant whip if a councillor has been absent without leave or without good cause from a meeting. Has
Chair,
that in fact happened, please?
interrupt my colleague, and I'm sorry, Warren.
Councillor
Is the sound issue being caused by Councillor Byrne?
Graham,
or is it-
Councillor Graham, please allow the mayor to speak first. I didn't recognize you. Let the mayor speak first.
It's not substantive, Speaker. My issue is with the sound.
With the sound.
Yeah, I'm not interrupting. I didn't mean to interrupt Councillor Byrne for any other reason than to say it's very difficult to hear. And it seems as though I am reverberating in the same way as he was.
Well, we heard what he said. But Mayor?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm responding to your question whether the minutes are a true reflection of what transpired. Confirm that they are indeed a true reflection of what was deliberated upon. But I must also correct that you can have is for the meeting that took place. You can't have minutes for a meeting which did not sit. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. A seconder for the minutes. A
Madam
seconder.
Speaker,
Yes, Chief Whip.
can indeed, Madam Speaker, the issue of the sound be attended to, because when someone speaks, there is a ghost after him that's repeating the speeches. I think there is a technical error that must be addressed. Thank you.
Can we address
But I was
this
a part of
technical
the
team?
meeting, and
Can we
I
address that,
support
please?
minutes through reflection. Thank you.
Speaker, point of order.
Thank you. All right, thank Councillor Graham.
Speaker, can I please request, you may be hearing differently to what we hear, but it was almost impossible to hear what Councillor Burns said. And I think it is a very important point making. Is it possible to please allow him to repeat what was said once the sound is fixed prior to adopting the minutes, so that other colleagues may have a proper ventilation of his views?
Can we check with the people who are recording? Did you hear what Councillor Ben said? Yes. We all heard from the side what you were saying.
Sorry. Madam Speaker, ACDB. Because the issue is not with the recording. The issue is with the fellow councillors to hear what was said. The fellow councillors can't hear the motivation of a councillor. That's the issue. It's not whether it was recorded effectively.
Can we adjourn for 5 minutes so that we can correct? 5 minutes. Thank you, colleagues. Let's reconvene. Let me allow Councillor Ben to speak. I can hear you. Can we all hear clearly now? Chief Whip? Chief Whip is clear, no ghosts. You can't hear me? Okay. All right. Can we all hear clearly now? Chief Whip, you don't hear any ghosts? Or Councillor Graham, are you okay now? Can we go ahead, Councillor Ben? Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you. Your Worship, the Mayor. Oh, Councillor Kaunda. S. Kaunda. Thank you very much, Councillor. No. Yes. Yes, what's the point of order? I take this as a correction of the meeting, of the minutes of the meeting of the 5th of August, Councillor Ben, because the meeting of the 29th did not sit, it was adjourned. The no, allow me to speak. The minutes of the 5th of August were supposed to have, because it's not in the minutes, to have said, because as you correctly say, the speaker has to call another meeting within 7 days. The meeting of the 5th of August was a continuation of the meeting of the 27th. These minutes of the 5th of August were supposed to mention that because the meeting did not sit, it was adjourned because there was no quorum, another meeting had to be called urgently within 7 days. We will make that correction in the minutes of the 5th of August. Thank you so much. What's the point of order? I don't know. I've never heard of a meeting of minutes of a meeting that was adjourned. Can we allow legal advice? No, legal advice now. No. No, let us allow legal advice.
Thank you.
Before legal advice, can we allow the mayor first? Thank you. Go ahead. It's exactly what the speaker is saying. The speaker is saying on the 5th of August, when the meeting set, the minutes must reflect that the meeting of the 27th of July could not sit because of the quorum. That is why we had a continuation of the meeting on the 5th of August. Can you allow Councillor Mapena? Councillor Mapena? Councillor Nkosi, in the meantime, while we're still sorting out Councillor Mapena. Ewe baba. Okay, we're still waiting for, we'll get the legal advice, but I'm allowing councillors to speak. Councillor Mapena? Can we allow the DLC? Thank you. The issue now is done. The minutes must read, as I have said, the minutes of the 8th. So can we confirm the minutes of the 8th with the addition that the meeting could not sit on the 27th and the meeting of the 5th of the 8th was a continuation of that meeting? The minutes, will they be a true record with the addition? Yes, Councillor Nicole.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The issue, as I understand it, is whether the meeting that was held at the ICC is a separate meeting from the meeting for which we have minutes before council. If we look at Rule of Order 10, sub-rule 5, it stipulates that where a meeting is adjourned because there is no quorum, the meeting must be reconvened within 7 days as a continuation of the adjourned meeting. So this simply means that the meeting that was held last time and for which we have minutes before council was a continuation of the meeting that could not proceed at the ICC. So what ought to happen is that the minutes of the meeting for which minutes are before council must be amended to include what occurred at the ICC, because this meeting was a continuation of that meeting. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. We're done with the matter. Can we have somebody who is going to confirm that the meetings, the minutes are a true record with the amendments that we're making now? Councillor Mapena? Councillor Diane moved the minutes with amendments. Anybody who seconds? Councillor Kaunda seconds the minutes. We're done with the minutes. Councillor Graham? Legal, do we have that? I've never heard that. What the speaker can do is to check who was not in the meeting and get what was happening. That's all I know. Legal?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. What the minutes ought to record is what happened at the ICC that perhaps led to the adjournment of the meeting. All records that are necessary for the purposes of that minute ought to be included.
Thank you. Let's then go ahead with the meeting. Let's move now to item 9. Councillor Singh, your hand is up. All right, we record that. Can we then move on to the next item, which is number 9, questions in terms of section 27 of the Rules of Order? We only have one question. Can I get a response? The councillor who is going to be responding, please raise your hand. Thank you. Councillor Sabelo, please raise your hand so that we can unmute you. You can then unmute yourself and speak. Councillor Sabelo. Please unmute yourself and speak. Morning, Councillor Sabelo. Thank you. We'll allow you to get more meat to the response. Thank you so much. Can we then move on to the next item, which is the reports. I will now invite His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Kaunda, to table the first report. Or before we do that, are there any councillors that want to declare any interest? Yes, Councillor Graham. Okay, thank you very much. Technical team, can we correct that? The live streaming? People can only hear the speaker and nobody else. People cannot get what is happening in the council. They can only hear the speaker. Can we correct that? Page 11. Is it working? Yeah, it's working and they're going to monitor that now. Any councillor wishing to declare an interest? There's none. Your Worship, Councillor M. Kaunda, please table your first expo report.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Kindly receive our warm revolutionary greetings. Amakhosi aseNdlunkulu, amakhansela wonke kamasipala wethu weTheku. I also wish to concur with you to wish our women during this month a fruitful and productive celebration of Women's Month. May I take this opportunity, Honorable Speaker, to present the first report of the Executive Committee of eThekwini Municipality. I thank you.
Thank you, Bab Mayor. Acting City Manager.
Greetings once again, Madam Speaker, His Worship the Mayor, the collective leadership of Council. The first report is from Human Settlements and Infrastructure Committee for the meeting held on the 3rd of August 2021. Item number 1.1, proposed alienation of portion 3 and 4 of F number 922 Westville Plan number SJ 4606. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.
The recommendation is carried.
Item number 1.2, closure of public open space, portion on remainder of F25 Amanzimtoti. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.
The recommendation is carried.
Item number 1.3, proposed long-term lease on portion of remainder of F1 Durban adjoining 237 Tambo Parade for commercial purposes as depicted on SJ Plan number 4751/10. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.
The recommendation is carried.
Item number 1.4, proposed lease of remainder of portion 398 of the Farm Pisang Rivier number 805 by public tender, corner of Dr. Langalibalele Dube Drive and Mqokozeli Hlajwayo Street. Plan number SJ 47545/7. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Agreed.
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 Item number 1.5, proposed long-term lease on Evans 680-686 Kwamashu P, situated on Mduduzi Msomi Road, 22867 Street, Lindanzama Road, for commercial purposes as depicted on plan number SJ 4768/2. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.
The recommendation is carried.
Item number 1.6, proposed lease on portion F692 Durban, 2 Nemo Road, Durban Restaurant. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.
The recommendation is carried. Whose hand is up? Councillor Shezi, let's start with you. NC Shezi. I don't have speakers
Speaker?
I don't have speakers on this item, but
Yeah, Speaker, on the previous item.
which is the previous item?
The one dealing with the P section land,
Item 1.5.
1.5, yes.
Yes.
As ANC, we requested for this matter to be referred back. There are still some consultation that are taking place with the community and the councillor regarding, or the ward councillor regarding not just this piece of land, but all pieces of land are around the same area. So we wanted to have a comprehensive a process that deals with all of those, and we requested that it be referred back to be resubmitted on the next meeting. Thank you.
Do we agree on the referred back?
Agreed.
Fine, Speaker.
Fine. The item is referred back. Thank you. Then please send your note to the Speaker Can you then move on?
Thanks, Madam Speaker. Item
Oh, there's a Councillor Mgwengwe again. Were you going to the same to say the same? Mgwengwe? Councillor Nana Cele,
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm covered by Councillor Shiz. Thank you.
covered. Councillor Nana Cele. Councillor Cele. Please unmute yourself. Or please lower your hand if your hand is up by mistake.
She raised his hand by mistake, Honorable Speaker.
Okay, thank you. Let's go ahead. City Manager.
Thanks, Madam Speaker. We are now on to item number 1.7 of the first report. A request for authority to engage with Pinetown Commercial Promotions Proprietary Limited and Pine Spring Properties Proprietary Limited to enter into a memorandum of agreement for the purpose of jointly constructing infrastructure required to provide safe link across Josiah Gumede Road at Go Durban Moody Station, Pinetown. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.
The recommendation is carried.
Item 1.7 proposed
1.8.
1.8 proposed strategy to address regulation of meter taxi and e-hailing services within a eThekwini municipality. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Okay.
Agreed.
The recommendation is carried.
And then there was a report on, which is item 3 on audit committee for the third quarter ended 31st of March 2021. Committee recommends.
Councillor P. Pillay from the DLC.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the DLC is very concerned that all these matters raised by the audit committee are repeated all the time. This effectively means, Madam Speaker, that whilst the council notes these reports, nothing much is done to prevent the recurrences of these issues. Madam Speaker, the underspending of capital budget is really an indictment of the performance of our city in terms of service delivery. Water losses have always been a major problem that we are having problems sorting out. We are always budgeting millions of rands to redress water losses. It is shocking to note, Madam Speaker, that the audit committee finds no evidence of any of these corrective measures. Where is the money going, Madam Speaker? The DLC wants to express a strong view that the supply chain management issues have always clouded our performance in terms of controls and irregular expenditure. If you were to look at the eight synopsis.
Your time is up. Your time is up, Councillor Pillay. Can we allow Your Worship the Mayor?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Firstly, we welcome the report by the Audit Committee, and we congratulated and also commended the outgoing chairperson, Mr. Mhlongo, and we also welcomed and wish well the incoming chairperson, Mr. Shabalala. Then the issue, Chair, Honorable Speaker, which we should be starting from is item 6 in the report that is before us, where the Audit Committee commended the city on its turnaround strategy that is put in place to address the recurrence of matters that have been raised by Auditor General and also the Audit Committee. So there is work in progress that has been scored in that regard, and there are time frames which have been put. And we said to the administration, those reports must be retrieved so that when they interact with the audit committee, they give all the factual information that is required, including the timeline on what we have set for ourselves to achieve. And we wish to commend our team in the administration for working tirelessly to reduce the irregular expenditure. As we can see, that 54% reduction, but it's not something that we can highly commend, but it's something which we still need to work on so that we reduce it to lowest numbers. And looking forward, Honorable Chair, the plans are also responding on how electricity and the customer care toll-free numbers that need to be operational, that must be rectified. And we gave clear timelines to our administration just to be certain that we respond to those issues with immediate effect. But we must also acknowledge that there is work that is being done looking at the audit outcome that we have received. Yes, we acknowledge there are a number of issues that are still, the matters that are still outstanding that still need to be addressed, but we are happy that our team in the administration is working tirelessly as we are playing our oversight over them to ensure that we rectify some of these matters. And we are now working towards our clean audit strategy. We had a very successful meeting with Auditor General's office. We also met with National Treasury. Our provincial quota were also present, where we outlined all these plans which are intending to turn our city around. It is a journey indeed, Honorable Speaker, that we are going to work together with all members of the council, but it's important to acknowledge where we have done right and also highlight where there are still weaknesses, including the issue of consequence management. That's an area where we want to put more concerted efforts to ensure that our own city administration really adhere to this and also follow what the Systems Act says in terms of taking actions against those who have worked parallel of the law or legislation. So it's very important to support our team in the journey of executing such, but we are optimistic that we are going to be achieving a good result as we move forward. And our monthly, fortnightly meetings, where we monitor them, are taking place, where they come and present before us all the plans and what are the obstacles in terms of achieving the objectives that we have set for ourselves. So we are certain, Honorable Speaker, that as we move forward, those matters will be attended to. I thank you.
Thank you so much. Is the recommendation agreed?
Agreed.
It's noted, Chair, it's not agreed.
No, or noted. Thank you. Next item. Yes, it's noted. You are correct. Is the recommendation noted?
Noted.
Noted.
Thanks, Madam Speaker. Item number 4, revised remuneration framework for assurance oversight committees. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.
The recommendation is carried. Can we now ask His Worship the Mayor to table the second report, EXCO report of the 24th?
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. May I also present the second report of the Executive Committee of eThekwini Municipality. I thank you.
Thank you. Acting City Manager.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Item number 1 is the report of the Governance and Human Resources Committee. 1.1, Policy on Development and Implementation of Service Level Agreements. Committee recommends.
Councillor Mtiane of the EFF.
No, Greetings to you, Speaker, and the whole council. Nabahlali bonke baseThekwini siyababingelela. Speaker,
Is that a point of order because we are not on the speaker's list? We continue with the program.
Asinayo report, Speaker. Asinayo.
You are muted, Honorable Speaker.
I'm saying to Councillor Mtiane, he's saying they don't have a report, but he's only saying that now, and he knew there was a meeting and he didn't have the report. Can we continue with the meeting? Councillor Barbara Fortain. Councillor Mtiane, uqalile uba out of order. You've been absent in the meetings. You're out of order now.
Madam Speaker, we all got our laptop. He must be advanced on technology. I know that he's too old. He was born before technology. If he can.
And he's been walking around in this room. I don't know where is he. He's been walking around in this room. I don't know where he is. We'll organize that to get the report. Let's continue.
Within the intervention by the young person, Councillor Nelinyanisa.
Okay.